Tonight on KVR News, UT students stand in solidarity with Rodney Reed.
UT faculty debate over changing a campus building name.
And UTPD adds body cameras to their uniforms.
You're watching KVR News, your leader for live local UT coverage.
Broadcasting live from the Texas Student Television Studios at the University of Texas. You're watching KVR News at 9, Austin's leader for live local UT coverage. Your news starts right now.
Good evening and welcome back to KVR News. For Monday, October 16th, I'm Sally Seo.
And I'm Lizzie Smith. Thank you for joining us. Campaigners for the justice of death row inmate Rodney Reed met outside of the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals building to protest for Reed's release on Saturday afternoon. The group, which included UT students, was 20 people in total, one for every year that Reed has been incarcerated. Reed was convicted of murdering Stacy Stites in 1996, but remains controversial as the investigation develops. The students wore black and held signs that spelled "Justice for Rodney Reed." There will be a hearing later this week to decide whether or not Reed will get another trial.
A recent analysis conducted by the New York Times concluded that the representation of African American students at UT has barely improved since 1980. The analysis examined 100 different universities and their student demographics over the last 35 years. The evaluation showed that the percentage of Caucasian students declined by 43% since 1980, while the percentages of Hispanic students rose by 15% and Asian students rose by 23%. UT's African American population has remained between 3 to 4% for the last 35 years. Robert Lee Moore Hall is under scrutiny by UT physicists, mathematicians, astronomers for its name. RLM Hall is named after Dr. Robert Lee Moore, a former professor at UT who is also known for discriminating against African Americans, women, and Jewish people. Current professors in the math and physics departments say that continuing to recognize Dr. Moore with a hall named after him, quote, sends the message that UT values Dr. Moore's achievements over inclusion of all scientists. This is untrue. We value equity and all people. University spokesman J.B. Bird says that decisions on naming buildings are made by the UT System Board of Regents and not by President Gregory Fenves. Bird encourages UT Austin residents interested in the issue to reach out to the Vice President of Diversity and Community Engagement.
Today marks the 100th day that UT alumni Ola Al-Qadari and Hossam Khalaf have been held in solitary confinement by the Egyptian government. Paradawi and Khalaf's family and lawyers learned about the unofficial charges brought against the two alumni, which reported that the two green card holders were apart and fundraising for a Muslim Brotherhood, which is illegal in Egypt. The hostages are only able to speak to their lawyers every 15 days while living in unsanitary conditions. UT students, a part of the UT Amnesty International, have written letters to the Egyptian government and have been promoting awareness on human rights violations to the administration.
Former UT volleyball referee Linda Fletcher has been identified by friends and UT officials as the victim in a hit-and-run crash that occurred last week. Fletcher was one of the first female referees at UT and was the former coordinator for the Big 12. Officials have not located the car or driver yet and are offering a $1,000 reward to anyone with the lead.
Ford Motor Company will offer free inspection repairs to over 1.3 million Explorer SUVs starting in November. This decision comes after receiving over 2,000 complaints of carbon monoxide leaks from the cars. Ford will check for gasket leaks and seal them if necessary, and will also reprogram the air conditioner system to ensure better airflow throughout the car. The Austin Police Department says they are waiting for these inspections in order to put their fleet of 400 Explorers back onto the streets.
A former Austin Police Department officer accused of faking his own death will not face charges. Coleman Martin, who was charged with a Class A misdemeanor for a false report, allegedly faked his death and fled to Mexico early this year. Authorities believed he had committed suicide after finding a note where he had threatened to drown himself. Investigators discovered him in Mexico and arrested him later in the Dallas airport. Martin will attend counseling and cannot own a gun or break any laws for the next 2 years.
People in the Travis County area can now take advantage of being able to text 911. This function launched about a week ago by the Capital Area Council of Governments. It is available for Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, and Sprint. The purpose of this function is to help callers who are hearing and speech impaired and those in dangerous situations where they cannot call 911.
A driver for ride-sharing company Ride Austin is being charged with sexual assault for raping one of his passengers over the summer. According to the arrest affidavit, Osmani Limonata Diaz said, quote, "No one will believe you," before he attacked the passenger. The car was parked outside the woman's house, and after escaping the car, she knocked on the door until her brother let her in. DNA samples were found and taken from the woman's body after the assault and compared to Limonata Diaz's own DNA, and investigators found them to be a match. Ride Austin responded with saying safety is their #1 priority and warning other rideshare platforms about Limonata Diaz.
The National Institutes of Health have been awarded a $2 million grant to develop an at-home test for people diagnosed with heart failure. This team is led by UT chemistry professor Richard M. Crooks. Crooks is developing an affordable way to test the stress of patients' hearts. They received their first round of funding in 2015 when the team received a Texas Health Catalyst Award. This grant will allow Crooks and his team to build a prototype and begin testing within the next 2 years.
The Moody College of Communication at UT is offering free training for parents of children with autism. The program, called Project Skills, and will work with parents to enhance the language and communication skills of children on the autism spectrum. Participants can get training in person at the UT Speech and Hearing Center or online. Trainings include 8 sessions, and the program will provide iPads and internet access to caregivers without these resources. The co-director of the program hopes to reach more individuals needing assistance this year, including those in rural areas across Texas.
Wow, Sally, this is really going to change lives for those families. Isn't that amazing?
Yes, and it's spread all across Texas too, so it's amazing. We'll be right back with more news. Stay tuned. A San Marcos School Board committee member stirs up controversy with tweets.
Anti-bullying advocates rally at the Capitol.
A Mississippi school district removes a famous book from its curriculum.
Have a news tip or story idea? Call the KVR News Tip Line, 475-8181.
A group of activists in San Marcos are angry about a recent appointee to the school district's Student Health Advisory Council. The activists oppose recent appointee Naomi Narvaez, who volunteers with the Student Health Council and the San Marcos City Ethics Commission. Ms. Narvaez has proposed tweets opposing illegal immigrants and LGBTQ clubs in public schools. The activists find these tweets objectionable. Ms. Narvaez, who is Hispanic, says she is being attacked for her conservative political views.
In the spirit of National Anti-Bullying Month, anti-bullying advocates continue to rally. People from all over the state of Texas gathered at the Capitol in Austin this Saturday as part of an anti-bullying campaign. There, ralliers learned about David's Law, an anti-cyberbullying law written in honor of San Antonio teen David Molak, who committed suicide after continuous online bullying. David's mother, Maureen Molak, spoke to those in attendance, as did actor Evan George Rosales. Rosales said, quote, "Always love yourself. One thing is to always remember you got your mom, you got your dad, and you have all of your family members that love you."
Hurricane Harvey relief efforts are still gathering donations, and this time from a group that's a little unexpected. Texas prison inmates donated more than $53,000 towards relief help. Department of Criminal Justice spokesman Jason Clark says almost 7,000 inmates donated between August 31st through September 30th to the American Red Cross. Commissary funds are mainly used for inmates' personal use to buy supplies and food during their incarceration. This hasn't been the first time prison inmates have donated money to help after a natural disaster. Inmates donated more than $40,000 to the American Red Cross after Hurricane Katrina back in 2005.
Puerto Rico continues to struggle with the power outage crisis, with authorities saying that power will be restored at only 30% of the island this month. The entire power system crashed nearly a month ago when Hurricane Maria hit the territory, leaving 30 million people powerless. As of Sunday, more than 80% of the island still remains without power. Puerto Rico's Governor Ricardo Rosselló set a goal to restore 50% of the island's energy by mid-November and 80% by December 1st. With authorities saying that the estimated time for Puerto Rico to have full power being 6 months to a year, Rosselló said that his plan was an aggressive agenda. Many people are relying on generators and living without proper air conditioning or internet. We here at KVR hope Governor Rosselló's plan succeeds in restoring Puerto Rico's power as soon as possible.
Natural disaster continues to spread in California, with more than 200,000 acres burned and almost 6,000 structures destroyed. The state is experiencing the deadliest wildfires in its history. Governor Jerry Brown announced on Friday that the state has secured federal aid to help assist Californian residents and more funding to remove debris. 40 residents have died and more than 200 have been reported missing. Residents that have survived go back home to their devastating new reality, but for others, the wildfires are still not under control. Santa Rosa residents were told to evacuate the area on Saturday. California firefighters say that they are doing everything in their power to get a handle on these deadly wildfires and to stop them from spreading. Almost 300 people are dead and hundreds more left seriously injured in the Somalian capital of Mogadishu after a deadly terror attack, which many say is one of the most lethal in the nation's history. A truck bomb thought to have been targeting Somalia's foreign ministry exploded near a hotel on a heavily trafficked street, demolishing the building. The death toll stood at 276 on Sunday, but officials expect the number to rise as rescuers recover more bodies. Though no group has yet claimed responsibility for the attack, fingers are pointing to the militant organization Al-Shabaab, who earlier this year vowed to escalate attacks after the Somalian government and the Trump administration announced new efforts against them. In response to this devastation, Somali President Mohamed Abdullahi Mohamed has declared 3 days of national mourning and has asked all Somalian people to come forward and donate to the wounded. According to a new study from Quinnipiac, 46% of Republicans say they would support a preemptive strike against North Korea. Only 41% say they would not support the move. A preemptive strike would mean America would take the first step in starting a war with North Korea. Critics of President Trump say his actions and tweets towards North Korea have led members of the Republican Party to support a war. Trump has threatened North Korea with, quote, fire and fury and to totally destroy them over Twitter. The results of the new study is very similar from a similar Washington Post ABC News poll conducted a few weeks ago, which found that only 30% of Republicans believed a preemptive strike would be beneficial. So far, Trump is not taking any military action against North Korea.
A Canadian-American family of 5 is now free after being released from their Taliban captors on Thursday. The rescue mission was carried out by Pakistani forces based on intelligence from U.S. authorities. The Boyle family was taken hostage while helping villagers in a Taliban-controlled region of Afghanistan. The captors authorized the killing of one of the children and the rape of the mother after the father repeatedly refused to accept an unspecified offer. The family have been in captivity for 5 years. Now that they are free, the parents are trying to adjust the kids to a normal family life and to try to regain some portion of their childhood. 7 people have been shot dead and 2 girls raped in an apparent revenge attack on a Kenyan boarding school. The suspected leader of the gunman vowed to take revenge on the school after his suspension the week before. Even though the student was from Kenya, the gunman came from the neighboring South Sudan. The suspended student was arrested, but was killed when an angry mob overwhelmed the police and took hold of him. According to the county governor, the attack raises even more concerns about the Kenyan-Sudanese border in the wake of multiple attacks over the past 2 years.
If you ever wanted to live in California, now might be the perfect time for us college students to head west. Last Friday, Governor Jerry Brown signed a bill that allows the first year of community college to be free for thousands of California students. This signing creates the California College Promise program. Students must be taking 12 credits per semester in order to qualify for the fee waiver. The community college system estimates that almost 20,000 students will benefit from this program and will cost the state more than $30 million annually. Remember Atticus Finch? Most of us may associate the name nostalgically remembering the book To Kill a Mockingbird. However, some kids in Mississippi may never even hear of the name or read the book at all. The book is being taken off the 8th grade reading list in a junior high Mississippi school district. To Kill a Mockingbird was published in 1960, written by Pulitzer Prize-winning novelist Harper Lee. It became famous for addressing the topic of racial inequality. The school board vice president Kenny Holloway made a statement about removing the book as a required reading for 8th graders, saying the district received complaints that some of the book's language makes people uncomfortable. Holloway also says that other books can teach the same lessons, that compassion doesn't depend upon race or education. To Kill a Mockingbird is still available in the district libraries.
Now some great news for animal lovers. California is officially the first state to ban the sale of animals from puppy mills. This past Friday, Governor Jerry Brown signed a law that required pet stores to work with animal shelters or rescue operations in order to sell cats, dogs, or rabbits. Private breeders, however, are still allowed to sell animals directly to the pet store. 36 cities, including Los Angeles and San Francisco, have similar bans on mass breeding operations. Puppy mills could soon be a thing of the past.
Most families would never imagine being stranded in the Scottish Highlands while on their lakeside camping trip, and furthermore being rescued by the Hogwarts Express train from the movies itself. The Cluid family was on vacation in the Scottish Highlands, which was where the Harry Potter train scenes were taken. The family woke up that morning to find out that the canoe they rowed up to their cabin washed away. The family called the police to later hear from them that the train picking them up was going to be the Hogwarts Express train. The family was safely rescued, and the father is hopeful that someone will find their lost canoe so the whole event would end as a happy ending for everyone.
Okay, you won't believe this. A South Texas man, Gilberto Escamilla, has been charged with felony theft in the first degree after successfully stealing over $1.2 million worth of fajitas over 9 years on the job. According to the Brownsville Herald, Escamilla's fajita fiasco imploded when he missed work one day for a medical appointment, and a delivery driver showed up to his office with 800 pounds of fajitas valued at up to $30,000. This alarmed Escamilla's co-worker, who reports that the Juvenile Justice Department, when she and Escamilla work, does not serve fajitas. She alerted her supervisor, who confronted Escamilla the next day. He confessed to stealing the fajita meat over the past 9 years. Escamilla was fired and eventually charged with felony theft after the Special Investigations Unit found packets of fajitas in his household. If convicted, Escamilla could face up to 99 years in prison for his fajita thievery. Isn't that a sizzling story, Sally?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot at stake here with this case.
Well, speaking of sizzling, I wonder what the weather is like.
All right, well, let's see what Emma has for us in the Weather Center. Emma?
Thanks, Sally and Lizzie. Stick around to see what's ahead for our flip-flopping Texas weather. Here's a hint. It will be fresh, it will be warm, it will also be a bit rainy. We'll be right back.
Have a news tip or story idea? Call the KVR News tip line, 475-8181.
Let's take a look to see what's ahead for the weather. Make sure to enjoy the breeze we've been having while you can, because it looks like we'll be heating right back up later this week. Today, we had a beautiful sunny day with the high of 78 and a low of 50. Tomorrow, we will have another sunny day with a high of 79 and a low of 50. Then it will start to warm up on Wednesday with a high of 83 and a low of 56. On Thursday, there will be mostly cloudy skies with a 10% chance of rain and a high of 82 and a low of 63. The mostly cloudy skies will remain on Friday with a high of 82 and a low of 63. Now, as far as the weekend, you may want to grab those umbrellas and raincoats because there is a 50% chance of rain and possible thunderstorms in the morning on Saturday, with a high of 85 and a low of 70. The rain will continue on Sunday with a 50% chance of rain and scattered thunderstorms throughout the day. There will be a high of 78 and a low of 58 to finish off the week. So enjoy the beautiful fall weather, get ready for some warmer temperatures for your walk to your class, and also get yourself ready for some rain this weekend. Live from the Weather Center, I'm Emma Denard.
Thanks, Emma. We'll be right back with entertainment.
Have a news tip or story idea? Call the KVR News Tip Line, 475-8181.
Welcome back to KVR News. 43 women have spoken out against ex-film executive Harvey Weinstein for sexual harassment and assault, according to Entertainment Weekly. The allegations started with 8 women on October 5th, with stories from high-profile actresses such as Angelina Jolie, Gwyneth Paltrow, and Rose McGowan. The allegations span from lewd suggestions to rape, mainly occurring in Weinstein's hotel rooms. Since then, his designer wife, Georgia Chapman, stated that she will leave him, and he has been fired from the board of the Weinstein Company. The woman who accused rapper Nelly of sexual assaulting her on his tour bus last year is dropping the charges and says she no longer wants an investigation. The 21-year-old woman's lawyer, Karen Kohler, posted an open letter on her website saying the college student did not feel comfortable enough, quote, to pursue criminal charges against a celebrity for alleged rape. According to the letter, the woman did not want money from Nelly and regrets her decision to call 911 because she believes the system has failed her. Nelly's lawyer called the accusation, quote, completely fabricated and reckless. Nelly is thankful for the loyalty of his fans, tweeting that he is innocent and everyone will know it once the facts are looked at carefully. Comedian and actor George Lopez was booed off the stage at the Children's Diabetes Foundation benefit in Denver, Colorado last Saturday. Lopez was told to cool it with his anti-Trump jokes after Liberty Media's CEO and Trump supporter Greg Maffei donated $250,000 to the foundation. Lopez continued with his anti-Trump rhetoric, which received the night. A source close to Lopez claims that his segment was, quote, only supposed to be 4 minutes long, even though Lopez was listed as the MC for the event. The Children's Diabetes Foundation has not yet released a statement regarding the issue. The celebrity chef behind diners, drive-ins, and dives is firing up the grill to give back to the people affected by the California fires this week. As a resident of the Santa Rosa community that has been decimated by fires, Guy Fieri teamed up with the Salvation Army to set up temporary kitchens at the Santa Rosa Veterans Memorial Building. The effort distributed thousands of meals to those affected citizens. As Fieri put it, quote, this is the least we can do. We're so sorry for friends who have lost their homes. There's a lot of really good people coming together. What a good guy. And you'll never guess who you're allowed to bring to Disney parks now, your pets. The Disney resorts include Disney's Port Orleans Resort, their Art of Animation Resort, and their Fort Wilderness Resort and Campground. Each resort allows guests to bring up to 2 dogs per room. Each room has easy access to outdoor pet exercise facilities in addition to green spaces for dogs to relieve themselves. Disney has a partnership with Best Friends Pet Care, which provides doggy daycare and a dog cleaning service. Dogs are required to be on a leash at all times, and certain floors of each resort will remain canine-free in order to accommodate people with pet allergies.
How exciting. Thanks, Bailey, and thank you for tuning in.
Make sure to follow us for news updates throughout the week. You can follow us on Twitter at KVR News and like us on Facebook. I'm Lizzie Smith.
And I'm Sally Steele. Stay tuned for College Press Box up next on Texas Student Television. Have a great week.